Good evening. On tonight's episode, Arachnids in the UK. A silly name for a solid episode.
Let's put a door between us. When I say now, quick as you can. Go, go, go!
I really like the first few shots in this story. There's 5 or 6 of them that are panning along the floor towards the center of a hotel, and it's just these little creative choices that make me think that they care and they're trying to do something interesting. Also, the music and the lighting sets up the ominous tone. And then we get an awesome sequence of the TARDIS traveling through the time-space void. I love how this was visualized, and I love how the Doctor has to fight to wrangle her ship through this. The cinematography and tone seems to be head and shoulders above any other season of New Who for me. Jodie's quirkiness has really started to solidify now. There's a scene where she says, "I might be socially awkward," and I thought, that would be awesome. I could relate to that.
Am I being weird?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm trying to do small talk. I thought I was doing quite well. It's work. Maybe I'm nervous. Or just socially awkward. I'm still figuring myself out.
Chibnall continues to explore Graham's grief as he returns to the home that he once lived in with his wife. So the first time he's been back since Grace died. And Bradley Walsh really did a great job in this scene. He's a great actor, whether it's comic relief, little quirky lines, or this deep emotional drama. And I liked how his character still saw his wife in their old house. This seems like something a real person would see if they returned to the house they used to live in with their life partner for the first time after they've died. Really well executed scene in my opinion.
I know. I've got so much to tell you.
The idea of giant spiders is quintessential Doctor Who silliness, but once again, Chibnall and the director take the subject matter seriously and are able to create a lot of tension and stakes around this creepy villain.
Anna?
The spiders are just domestic spiders that have become overgrown. They didn't feel the need to change the real life design at all. And it works. They look creepy and threatening without altering how spiders look in real life. And the CGI is pretty good. The execution is a lot better than it was in Planet of the Spiders.
I shall be the ruler of the entire universe!
Now listen to me. Listen. I haven't got much time left. What you're trying to do is impossible.
There's a billionaire hotel mogul who's running for president in this episode, and Chibnall is obviously referencing Donald Trump. There's no subversion of the character either. He's just rude and selfish and money hungry in a two-dimensional kind of way.
I am Jack Robertson, and this is my hotel. Just one hotel in an incredibly successful chain of hotels, which is just one small part of my business portfolio as featured in Fortune Global 500. Does that ring a bell?
I don't like modern politics in my sci-fi, and I certainly don't need Chris Chibnall to sit me down and tell me that Trump isn't a savory character. Now, I hear what you're saying, but Alex, you love Star Trek, and Star Trek is political. Yes, Star Trek explores broader political issues like socialism, capitalism, racism, prejudice, but the original series of Star Trek didn't feel the need to sit me down and say, "Hey Alex, did you know that Richard Nixon is unhonest?"
He's running for president in 2020.
Ed Sheeran?
No, him. Robertson, aren't you?
Well, I haven't declared my intentions yet, but look, we're talking about spiders.
See? Typical politician avoiding the question.
I am not a politician, I'm a businessman, and I know how to run things.
I've heard you're only running because you've hated Trump for decades.
Please don't.
The spiders in this story actually kill people and wrap them up and hang them from the ceiling. It's effective, it sets them up as a threatening enemy. I feel like this season in general has been targeted to an older audience in comparison to the old Matt Smith silliness.
What are they? Oh my god. You guys, stay back.
So the spiders are all congregating around this Trump-esque character's hotel. And the reason for that is that the hotel was built on an old mining facility that this Trump ripoff is now packing full of landfill. There were some spiders in there and they became mutated by waste from a lab. I mean, this is a really basic, like, 1950s comic book origin. I guess the explanation for the spiders didn't need to be a massive beat in the story. Chibnall just wanted to have a fun spider romp, which is fine. So the way this conflict is resolved is through rap music? Apparently spiders find their food source through vibrations. So Ryan plays rap music and lures the spiders into a panic room where they're all trapped. I would have liked the Doctor to come up with a more creative way to resolve this problem. Also, there are a lot of other spiders throughout the city that they just don't do anything about. Oh well, fuck it, some giant spiders. We kind of wrapped up the problem and solved it. Now on to the next adventure. The people of London will be fine. Presumably, some of them will die. That's alright.
Go on, you disgusting things.
Can you believe they're actually moving towards that music?
Where do you know me from? Out here like the road deep song, man.
So there's a giant spider that's too big to make it to the panic room. And this Trump rip-off character decides to shoot it. He even says, how's this for Fire and Fury? Which I think was Donald Trump's autobiography. It's just, referencing isn't subtle. Anyway, the Trump-esque character shoots a spider and the spider dies. And this scene is supposed to make me feel sympathy for the spider, but I didn't at all, Even while the Doctor was lamenting this creature's death, all I could think was, don't get too close to that monster, it could very easily kill you.
Put the gun down. She wasn't even a threat, she was dying anyway.
So the final scene of this episode shows our companions approaching the Doctor and revealing that they all want to continue travelling with her. They all have good reasons for wanting to continue these adventures, especially Graham. I like all of these characters, and this scene made me excited to see more far-out adventures in the TARDIS with these people that Chibnall has so well developed.
Well, I don't want to sit around my house waiting for it to go away. Because that house is full of grace and it makes it so much harder. But, being with you and seeing all these things, it really helps.
In conclusion, I'm starting to get more of an idea of what this season will be like. Classic Doctor Who themes and stories, but filmed and written in a modern way. These stories aren't perfect, but they're head and shoulders above the Moffat era. And I think if the season finale is as well executed as The Woman Who Fell to Earth, then I'm back on board with New Who. Who would have guessed it? Certainly not me 5 weeks ago. I thought this season would have been rubbish, but they've taken the subject matter seriously. It's reasonably well written. The cinematography is beautiful. The new Doctor is engaging and quirky. They've really developed these companions. Surprise, surprise!
Welcome aboard. Properly. Do you want to do it together?
Thank you for watching, and it'd really help out if you could like, subscribe, and in the comments tell me how I got all the facts wrong and how my opinion is null and void. Thank you, and good night.